Hello there, and welcome back to Knights of the Nerd Republic, the show where your favorite nerds talk all things from the galaxy far, far away. I screwed up the intro. Who cares? I'm still tired from last night. I wasn't done with number one contender until 4 a.m.
This is the Star Wars one.
This is the Star Wars one. I am your host, Jared the Dark Jedi Bachman Stubbs. In-house is your favorite Gungan Sith Lord, Levi Baum.
Hello, boys. How's it going?
And this week I thought you had more there. This week
No,
we are joined by the lore keeper Connor Chikiti.
Hello there, everyone. I hope you all have had a solid week and a solid weekend so far. We're just going to be talking some pretty good news that we got over the past week with Star Wars, and we can't wait for you to listen in.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a good week to not be an asshole in the Star Wars fandom. And we are joined by Beyond the Blast Doors Lives and Geeky Waffles Arezou this week. Hello there.
Hello, everybody. I'm very excited to be here.
You're very excited to have you on. And before we get into the thick of it, where can the lovely people find you and all the work that you do?
Okay, you can find me a few places. You can find me on Twitter. I'm at Arezou Amin. You can find me on my own site, which is arezoud2.com. It's mostly Star Wars book based. And like Jared said, you can find me on Beyond the Blast Doors Live on Wednesday nights. And you can find me over at the Geeky Waffle as well. So I'm all over the place.
Yes, absolutely. Amazing content on all fronts from users. Very honored to have you on. And very excited, especially because speaking of Beyond the Blast Doors Live,
yes,
Arezou, I'm actually gonna give you the story.
Okay.
Because you've learned one thing over the past week, it's that you're very good at breaking this story.
Okay, so I'm breaking the story again.
Yes.
So
Scotty.
So Gina Carano. Gina Carano is not returning to season 3 of The Mandalorian. Her contract, by the sound of it, was just not renewed. And the news broke during an episode of Beyond the Blast Doors Live, right as we were getting ready to wrap up. So we went on for about 15 minutes longer, just processing the news. But yeah, it's been a very quick, I guess it's been, a week and a half now? It's been a very tumultuous week and a half in the lives of everybody who watches The Mandalorian.
Yes, indeed. The beginning and end of this story, where it affects Star Wars, is that her bullshit tweets caught up with her finally. Apparently this has been the plan for a hot minute, and I guess it seems like Disney and Lucasfilm were just gonna quietly let her go, and she just wasn't gonna show up in season 3. And then everybody could just speculate as to whether or not the story didn't include Cara Dune or if she was cut from it. But apparently Disney had the intent of getting rid of her for a hot minute, which is another part of a lot of the reporting that's been going around. Which brings us here. I don't want to dwell on her getting hired by the Daily Wire too long because...
and hired by BS too, so...
Yeah, there are better and I'll admit funnier podcasts that have already raked that power couple over the coals. So we are going to get in the weeds on that bit, but yeah, if you've been online, you're aware of what's been going on with Gina Carano. Lots of nasty tweets. Ranging everywhere from conspiracy theories to just straight up bigotry. It's been
a lot of reposts too.
Wide range. One extreme positive that I do want to shout out from that day is that the Trans Rights or Human Rights This Is the Way campaign, in a sudden uptick of, I guess, celebration, met their goal that night.
Awesome.
They'd just fallen short when the campaign ended, and then everybody pushed them over the top that night. So
awesome.
Wanted to shout that out really quick.
I love that it happened that night. There's something really funny about everybody hearing go, wow, she's gone. She's really gone. I'm gonna go donate another $20.
It was big celebration parade on Naboo after the Federation left energy. I won't go far as to say like Yub Nub energy, but it was big celebration on Naboo energy.
I think you're absolutely right. And you say that now I just see like a bunch of like Gungans like sprinting down Theed Plaza, like waving trans flags. And
Lisa free!
Yeah, Lisa free! But yeah, this was a hell of a story. Obviously the culture warrior fandom menace horse shit has been on full display. Because I hate myself and I have a crippling addiction to watching fandom menace content for laughs.
Why?
I say the same thing, Arezou. I ask the same question.
There's just no good answer.
There isn't. You're not. None of you are wrong. I shouldn't do it to myself, but I can't stop it. Out of morbid curiosity, I couldn't help myself from watching Doomcock's coverage just to point and laugh. And the paradoxical weird logic at play there I baffled my mind. Because in his first video, it was basically cancel culture's gone too far, but also you can't compare being a Republican in the 2020s to being a Jew during the Holocaust. Those two things aren't the same. And I was like, wow, like Doomcock kind of took like a limp-dicked, like principled stance. Like it's not much, but
so he's like this close to getting it.
Yeah, I think a little further from getting it than that, but
you got to give him some. Okay, you know what? I'm not even going to go there.
Yeah.
Not even gonna go.
Literally, it seemed like either like a couple days or a few hours later, his second video on the matter opens with him like, "Oh, I need to clarify something." It's not that I disagree with Gina's statement. I just think that once you bring up Nazi Germany, you've lost the argument. And it's like, oh yeah, sure. You didn't have people threatening to unsubscribe, Mr. Cock. That wasn't the problem. So it's been a hoot. I've officially kicked my need to watch the quartering in Geeks and Gamers. So at least I'm clean on those fronts, and I have.
Yeah, don't go down the rabbit hole any further than you need to.
Yes. Doomcock has become my sole fandom menace fixation that I can't help but laugh at.
Fixation.
That's exactly what it is.
So I want to ask you guys, because we and the listeners all know where Arezou was when this broke. If you don't, check out the stream on Beyond the Blast Doors Network on YouTube. It's a hoot.
It's been clipped out, just that one bit, so you can find just the breaking news bit if you're so inclined.
It's hilarious. Like ours, like basically a summary I can give of it real quick is Scotty and Adam, especially Scotty, are losing their crap over this, and Arezou's just sitting there like as chill as she could be.
It's because the last time I got excited about something happening with Gina Carano, I got a lot of really nasty comments about my person and my appearance and a bunch. I'm like, I'm just not going to do this again. You all know how I feel.
Fair enough. So I want to ask you guys first, you two. Levi, where were you when this broke?
Probably at home. Is there something I'm missing to this question? Like,
no, like,
did you watch it break, or did you hear about it like the next day?
Compared to us, who were just like, because I was watching the stream, I learned the funny thing is, I think the article got sent into the group chat like a half a second before you said it on the stream. So while I was editing Movie Club, I got a notification that the Messenger group chat went off, but I didn't look at it. And then I heard you break it, and I'm just like looking over, like, whoa! And I like open my phone, and then it's just this wall of just us already talking about her getting axed. So, and then like I was telling Arezou, that was pretty much the day we decided we were going to talk about the High Republic that week, and I was like, we're not going back on this, but of course today's the day.
Yep.
I do remember my Twitter feed being nothing but jokes about that for 2 or 3 days.
Yeah. It's been good stuff to mine from the Hollywood Reporter article of the
Oh
behind
my god.
Mandalorian star Gina Carano of Grogu shooting her out of the Razor Crest airlock is probably the best thing to come of it, in my opinion. If I could find a way to format it, it would be my phone wallpaper. You know what? That is enough of that hateful dipshit. And we are going to move on to something not controversial at all. I'm just kidding. We stand one king, and that king's name is Rian Johnson, and his trilogy is still happening. In a recent interview with Soraya Wilson, who has just been winning lottery after lottery to interview people, go off. Rian Johnson has confirmed that his trilogy is still on track to be happening with Lucasfilm. There's just no set date and time yet. And I know there are still people saying that that's just Hollywood they haven't announced they fired me yet. But I will go ahead and say that I think it's very clear, like Disney said itself, that they wanted to make a little bit of a pivot to streaming. So it doesn't surprise me. Like we all saw the Investors Day, slate of content. It doesn't surprise me that this massive pivot to mostly streaming TV shows, that the movies got kind of put on the back burner. So no, there's nothing that surprises me here. Arezou, you're a cultured
I'm a
person.
fan. Yes, I'm a fan. I was a little relieved to hear it. I guess not hearing it at Investors Day, I kind of wondered why. Even though it was mostly streaming, they'd only mentioned the 2 movies, Taika Waititi's and Patty Jenkins. But I kind of wondered why it hadn't come up. And then when he says that, they're just giving him time to work on it because he's got other projects, I'm like, good, because bad things happen when people rush. So if they're giving him time to work on it, then great. And a few years down the line, we have something to look forward to. So it's just kind of nice to hear the confirmation again.
I wonder if he has notebooks filled with stuff already.
Oh, I hope so. I hope he's just sitting there between other projects, just brainstorming.
I'm very much in that camp because, I on one hand, Disney was a little impatient with him because there is the whole story about how they asked him to come do episode 9 and he was like, no, I'm busy with Knives Out. And he said, if you let me finish Knives Out, I will be there immediately. And they were like, sorry, we can't wait.
The devastation I feel.
Yeah.
Whenever I remember this.
And then I gotta go because Knives Out, the night I saw it, I was like, this is already in my top 5 movies of all time. This is already one of my favorite things ever. And I'm immediately like, okay, am I willing to trade Knives Out for Rian Johnson's episode 9? The answer is yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hindsight.
Yeah, hindsight.
But we could have. Imagine what a nice cap off to the terrible year we had last year would have been then. Granted, at home, because it is not safe to go to the theater right now. At home, like an episode 9 release, they could have charged us $60 to rent it, and I'm pretty sure people would have paid it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Easily.
I can only imagine. This is roughly kind of like Nerd Academy proper talk. We've already seen how tumultuous trying to figure out what the hell to do with Black Widow has been. Imagine Disney trying to figure out what the hell to do with episode 9. Because I don't think if they're apprehensive about putting Black Widow on Disney Plus, I think they would be horrified to have to take that gamble on Rise of Skywalker or whatever the hell it would have been called under Brian.
Maybe they would have made it a rental on Disney Plus rather than how Mulan, you just paid the fee and then you got it a couple months early as much as you wanted. If they had made it a $30 rental or whatever for you have 48 hours to watch it and then it disappears.
Yeah.
I think people would have paid it. I think the problem with Black Widow is there's kind of that bit where they were expecting it to go into theaters and to make Marvel level money, but now they can't do that. And then there's the whole issue sort of us watching a movie about a character we know is going to die. So
Yeah.
are we willing to, like, I would pay for it if they put it on premium access, but I don't know how many people would. So
Yeah,
maybe
I
that's
think
their hesitation too.
I think that I agree with you. I think there's a really interesting conversation to be had there that in a really funny way, as much as the medium's already pushing towards digital as hard as it is, that there are certain franchises like Marvel and Star Wars that do rely on the theatrical experience that I think kind of sets it apart, that it's meant to be, we're going to go see the new movie at the movie theater, and that I think they become a little bit more disposable when it's at home streaming.
I wouldn't have been surprised if, let's say, Ryan gets the announcement and he's announced in like 2018 or whatever. They're saying, oh, it's going to come out December of 2020, and then they push it back. I wouldn't be surprised if they just pushed it back a year because of the pandemic.
Yeah, so, that's such an interesting what if scenario that we could talk about all day. That just occurred to me that it would have had to have been delayed.
Yeah, no, I think that, and also, I mean, this is just the one thing I would change with Star Wars is I wonder if Trevorrow's would have been made had Carrie not passed away, unfortunately.
I think that's another important conversation to be had is like what, yeah.
So, well, I've got opinions on that one, but didn't she die in Trevorrow's anyway?
No.
I don't
At least that I'm aware of, she didn't.
Right in the beginning, didn't she? No, I'm thinking of something else. I'm thinking of Alan Dean Foster's.
Yeah,
that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
That guy.
That's what I'm thinking of. She died right off the top. Okay.
Levi, I want to ask you, because you have more mixed opinions about the sequels on the whole than the rest of us.
I don't think Johnson's the second coming of Christ like some people in this room. Not going to name names.
Listen, it's not Cookie Cup's fault that he has great taste in directors. Are you excited to see what he's able to do, like on his own? Like not, yeah,
because he has a whole trilogy to himself. Right, we don't have this back and forth. We don't have as much background politics with movie making. He is the director. It's his vision, right? That's awesome. And yeah, Knives Out, pretty good, right? So yeah, for a whole trilogy, he has time to think, and it's just one mind. That's what's so great about One Piece, right?
Oh, but you managed to do it.
I managed to do it. One mind for like 20 years, and it's the best damn literature in the modern age because one person was behind it all. Yeah, so we'll see how Rian Johnson does when he doesn't have to take over for another director.
I agree with you, and I think that might have been your best shoehorning in as to why everybody needs to read One Piece. That was the best one. That's my new favorite. That's my new favorite.
Good.
Yeah, Connor, any thoughts on Ryan's trilogy before we move on here?
I was relieved to hear it. It's pretty awesome that he's still working on it because A, it's Rian Johnson's Star Wars, and I'll never get enough of it. And B, it also excites me because there have been some friends of mine and some just fans in general that have had the viewpoint of, I didn't like what he did in Last Jedi, but I will give him a chance with his own trilogy, and that's sort of just like blank slate per se. So that excites me a bit with some fans, but I'm just already excited for what he does.
Yeah. And The Last Jedi is my favorite Star Wars movie. I can't not love everything about that movie.
Yes,
thank you. I understand why some people don't love it, but I think I can wrap my brain around it. I don't agree with it, but I can wrap my brain around it.
Keyword some.
Yeah, some. I can get down with you don't like how it's made. There's other complaints that aren't worth addressing. But I I wonder how many people would be kind of like predisposed to being excited for Rian Johnson's Star Wars if their first introduction to it wasn't this guy who loves to get very meta and play with one's expectations of the genre or the franchise or what have you. If their first experience to him was him playing in his own sandbox to begin with. And like you were saying,
Yeah,
Levi,
that's what I'm saying.
yeah, like
Mhm.
as much as I love the way he writes and realizes Rey and Kylo and Luke and what have you, and I even think Canto Bite gets more hate than it deserves because that entire sequence is integral to the main theme of the story. I want to see what he can do with his own characters. Like I want to see Rian Johnson write an original Rian Johnson Jedi. I almost made like the Spike Lee joke, an original Rian Johnson joint. Like that's what I want to see, but his versions of Jedi and the Force and everything that don't have the baggage of it's Luke.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And it, because that way he has full creative control at that point. He doesn't have to work with 7 other movies, let alone the vision of another director who came right before him, like the 6 before that.
Mm-hmm.
So very exciting stuff.
I'd be curious to see if there's a Last Jedi renaissance post his trilogy. Like if people who didn't like it but did like that trilogy revisit it in a new way.
I wouldn't be shocked.
Like revisit it in a nice way, not in a not I didn't like this personally, therefore it makes no sense. Because I don't vibe with that take. But
I think we're 3 to 4 years away from the sequels finally getting the weird status that the prequels have now.
Most of the sequels. Connor knows how I feel about this. Connor knows how I feel.
Yes. And they know how I feel.
Yeah.
In the middle. That's all I'm going to say.
I hope 9 doesn't get well loved.
Yes, that's exactly how I feel. Just a nice 7, 8 renaissance, and then whatever inevitably comes after 9 to fix it.
I'll give you your 8 renaissance. I'll be happy if you're happy.
You would just do a supercut from 9, be like 7, 8, and these select scenes.
And these 10 minutes from 9.
I have many problems.
It's like a post-credit scene for 8, and it's just 10 minutes out of episode 9.
All right, so Kylo's
sorry, Connor.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's fine. I've seen worse. You're good.
We all listen. This podcast is a safe place to both praise and shit on the Rise of Skywalker because I do plenty of both. And that
Can confirm
that, and it's almost completely dependent on who's in the room too. Like most of the time, it turns into like a shit fest whenever it's you and me.
Oh yeah,
yeah, because it's just too easy to rip apart. But if it's just me, Jerry, or Jerry's a guest, or like Connor's on, it's like like there's some cool stuff in there. It's David Goyer, and he's the guy who wrote Batman v Superman, and Batman v Superman is the most 50-50 movie I've ever seen. And then it was immediately replaced by The Rise of Skywalker as the most. There is so much here that I hate and love that I don't know what to do with this movie.
I remember 2 things about Batman v Superman, and I saw it opening weekend. But I remember 2 things about that movie, and I don't remember anything else.
So I'm going to assume one of them's Martha.
One of them's Martha.
Yeah.
And the other one is the image of Superman walking into the bathroom with his work shoes on. I'm like, sir, you shower in there. Please take your shoes off. And it stressed me out so bad, I zoned out for the next 20 minutes. I'm just going to have to clean that. That's disgusting. I was done. The impact of that movie.
Yeah. Zack Snyder's opus. Anyway, wrong podcast. Cool. Yes. So our next news, we have another book in what seems to be the ending of the E.K. Johnston Queen trilogy. We are getting Queen's Hope, another Padme novel set during the Clone War. seeing Padme have to grapple with, the war, somebody who's a pacifist at heart having to kind of be the progenitor of this war. And we get to see her relationship with Anakin told through this lens as well. I'm going to read from the StarWars.com press release. It is a time of conflict, and Padme Amidala finds herself cast in new roles as a wartime senator, a wife, and a rebellious woman on a mission. But there is still hope. In her book, Queen's Hope, author E.K. Johnson will complete her trilogy exploring Padme's life during her early years on the Senate floor, on the throne of Naboo, and ultimately entangled with Anakin Skywalker, Jedi General, during a dark time in the galaxy's history. While Anakin excels at the leading of the clone soldiers on the battlefield across the galaxy, Padme is horrified by the repercussions left behind on war-torn planets. Although the peace-loving senator is still an active member of the Galactic Republic's lawmakers, she employs her loyal handmaiden Sabe when duty calls her to a secret mission that forces her double to serve on the Senate for an extended period of time, witnessing war from the political arena. And, of course, Chancellor Palpatine plays his part, manipulating all sides of the conflict for his own evil plans to rise to the Galactic Empire.
Evil plan to give rise to the Empire.
Evil, yeah, I got tongue-tied, thank you.
Yeah.
What else is new? Can't read. Travis is rubbing off on me.
Yeah, he is.
Fuck you.
This sounds cool. Like, I love political intrigue.
Oh, you got to read the first two books. They're so good.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. Yeah, that's one of my favorite. Could it be considered a genre or a subgenre of drama, perhaps?
Oh, absolutely.
Political
Political thrillers, yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. This is just me. I don't know if it's because I'm a guy or not. I don't want to read anything having to do with romance with Anakin Skywalker.
No, that means you're just like a not toxic person, that you don't like immediately cringe at it. Or that you do immediately cringe at it is a good sign.
You ever get secondhand embarrassment, like watching a film or a TV show, like they try to pass it off as comedy, but all you do, you can't look at it. Yeah, that's what I imagine.
I wouldn't mind reading it.
This is just my take.
I'm excited to see E.K. Johnston write it, because with Queen's Shadow, E.K. made me really, really like Padme.
Mm.
Like, I always liked Padme in theory, but Queen's Shadow made me love her in practice as a character. And it made me really excited to see a story about Padme that has, with the exception of the epilogue, nothing to do with Anakin or Vader and her being, used in this, Padme is the bridge from Anakin to Darth Vader. They're like, she's the reason why he did it. Like that most things revolving around Padme kind of devolve into, as to like, see how she make him crazy type shit.
I hate that.
I do too. And that's why I loved Queen's Shadow. I up until then, I feel like the best Padme stuff we ever got was the Revenge of the Sith novel, where we see her kind of conspiring and seeing the early seeds of the rebellion being sown. And I feel like Queen's Shadow was the first time Padme got to shine as her own character that was not directly linked to being Anakin's wife and Luke and Leia's mom.
I mean, I'd say she fills that role in the Phantom Menace, and I know there's a lot happening in the Phantom Menace to the point where that kind of gets lost. Because when people talk about the Phantom Menace, what do they talk about? They talk about the pod racing, they talk about Duel of the Fates. Like, there's a lot of big set pieces to the point where Padme's plot gets lost in the conversation. But the thing, I was talking to somebody yesterday, I'm like, the saga doesn't happen if Padme doesn't leave Naboo. If she doesn't make that choice with Sabe in the moment to leave, none of the story happens.
You're right. You're absolutely right.
Everything hinges on Padme, and then her whole, like, the political machinations, and then we see how, having a young leader think outside the box sort of throws a wrench into the Trade Federation's plans. But at the same time, she is so young that she's got Chief Palpatine being like, hey, throw this guy out, like vote of no confidence. And then she's like so young and so desperate in that situation. She's like, yeah, that makes sense. And maybe it would have if somebody other than Palpatine took over. Like maybe that was the decision because he was kind of waffling around and willing to let her people die. So she is extremely capable despite her age, and all of this is happening in the Phantom Menace, but it gets lost with these really loud, flashy set pieces happening around it, because if you're 8, maybe you don't pick up on it, but if you're like 28, then that's the part you see. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I don't know. I think maybe part of
the two, especially the first 2 episodes, the prequels try to do a lot in just one movie, and I think a lot gets lost in that. Brings the overall quality down too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot of stuff about the prequels and even the sequels, and most franchises in general, but these two especially, that there's a lot of stuff there that in theory, in concept, incredible and brilliant, like the very, very strained and weird political scene that is the Galactic Republic, and how it festering and being so stagnant and up its own ass opened the door for the Empire to even exist.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how real world fascism comes about as well. That was the point. George knows his history, and I don't know. I think as somebody, and I've brought this up a couple times in the past few weeks. I'm currently showing my little sister Clone Wars. She's 8, and she got super into The Mandalorian, and I wanted to explain to her who Ahsoka was. So we went on like a Clone Wars greatest hits marathon, leading up to Ahsoka's episode in Mando, and she was like, "I want to see the rest of it." And I was like, "Okay, hell yeah, let's go." And we've been watching it, and every so often these episodes about Anakin and Padme will come up. And I don't know at what point I convinced myself that Anakin was any better in the Clone Wars with Padme than he is in the movies. But he is still so aggressively creepy and like aggressively possessive that and there are moments that there's like a legitimate that aren't uncomfortable to watch with him. Like there's a lot of moments that like there is some foundation in my memory of that, but there's still a lot of like, hey, it's like the John Mulaney, like, get away from my wife, and he just starts punching people.
Oh, Clovis. Like I like that. Here's the thing. In defense of this is, I can't believe that this is what's happening, but here we are. Part of the tragedy of Anakin Skywalker and Padme Amidala, part of the tragedy of their marriage is the way it was done, because it's very sure it's secretive, and like they can't have that healthy space to sort of be a healthy married couple. It's like having an affair constantly, because he can't, like, the Jedi Order can't find out, the Senate can't find out. Well, I mean, the Senate wouldn't really care, but then that would get back to the Jedi Order. So there's that element to it where it's constantly this sort of really tense, on edge thing. And then you've also got this kid who is reeling from, being taken away from his mother, spending the early years of his life like in slavery. Like he has emotional damage that I don't think was ever really addressed. And he clings to Padme because he lost his mom under horrific circumstances and thinks he's going to lose her too. Mm-hmm. And he can't tell his closest friend and mentor this because he's not supposed to know, even though he does. And that could have been avoided if he'd just been a little more honest. But he can't tell anybody, so he has to try to process it by himself. And that's the tragedy of Anakin Skywalker. So on the face, it looks creepy, but like it's more tragic than anything else.
Oh yeah,
it works.
Just never had a chance.
Yeah, it's tragic, but that's
it
that's
absolutely tracks. Yeah,
mm-hmm. And that's what people miss. What when they say about Padme, look at what she did to Anakin. No, she was used. Like all the other shit that happened in Anakin's life, she was just another thing that was used to manipulate him. Yeah, to go dark.
So for all of those reasons, I can't wait to see how E.K. Johnston writes Anakin here.
Yeah.
In this narrative. I am only like a quarter of the way into Queen's Peril. I keep picking it up and then putting it back down and picking up, putting it back down. Not because I'm disinterested in it, just because other shit comes up or there's other things that we got to listen to or review, or I'll get hooked on something else out of nowhere. I need to blast through Queen's Peril, so I'm ready for this because I am really excited. It's kind of been like the show Anakin Skywalker hour. Like, he's not my second favorite character. So I am. I'm just excited to see a story that has Anakin in it. Period. So seeing it in this lens is something that excites me very, very, very much, and I can't wait for more of it. On the similar warpath of Star Wars publishing, we have the companion piece. Capiche. Is a podcast. Half of the people in the Nerd Academy are Italian, so we can make those jokes. Me being one of them, and Connor and Levi also being on that board. Anyway, we got Secrets of the Sith, kind of the companion piece. Say it right.
There we
go. Yes, I'm moderately literate sometimes, ladies and germs. To the what was it called? Light of the Jedi? Secrets
of the Jedi.
It was just Secrets of the Jedi.
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure if it was just that flip floppy. So yeah, it's basically going to be the same thing but dark side. I'm very excited to see it. The cover art's gorgeous, just like the Jedi one was.
Oh man,
what?
Who you are manning at?
Savage Opress is.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I always forget that you hate him just as much as Spencer and I do.
Why do you hate him?
He pisses me off. I have no good reason for it. I didn't like him. I don't like him today. I didn't like him when I was a kid. I got excited when Sidious killed him, to the point where like tiny preteen Jared had to call Spencer and be like, "Did you see this shit? Did you see this chump get murked?" And we both celebrated it. I have no good reason for hating Savage Opress as much as I do. Like not to the point where I'm gonna harass Mr. Krabs on Twitter about it. I'm not a jackass, but I relish whenever Savage dies, and I don't know why I hate him, but I do.
I just don't like how he killed a council member with a headbutt.
Oh yeah, Adi Gallia. Yeah, that's.
I thought that was dumb, and then just kind of stuck with me. It was a seed that was planted, and it grew, and now I don't like him at all.
I like him because he's delightfully over the top.
That I do like about him. I like
that about him.
I like all the super extra characters, especially my boy in the top left corner up here. Even though he's not a Sith Lord, an argument can be made as to why he's up there. But
Matt Martin did say that this book, like how the first one was narrated by Luke Skywalker, this one is narrated by Palpatine.
Okay.
So it's not everybody on the cover is a Sith. Like, nobody's saying Savage Opress is a Sith. It's just Sith teachings. It's narrated by a Sith Lord, and it's sort of touching on all aspects of the dark side. So that's why these people are on the cover.
I was going to mention that too, Arezou.
That made me feel better because I'm like, my boy Kylo Ren is not a Sith. Yeah. You spent a lot of time saying he's not a Sith, and then he's on the cover, and I'm like, what? And then they clarified, so it was fine.
Yep.
Yeah, the logic I gave is I didn't see Matt Martin had said that, and that makes sense, was that even though he is not a follower of Sith teachings, he did ultimately end up being kind of used as an agent of the Sith. So I would throw it that bone that, like, even though he is not a Sith Lord, he knowingly and unknowingly was serving the Sith at one point. So that checked out to me on that front. I would, all joking about him aside, and to Ventress as well, I would definitely give Savage and Ventress the title of Sith. They may not have ever taken up a Darth name. But
You don't need to be a Darth.
No, you don't
Right,
need to
to
be
be
a
a Sith.
Darth.
Yeah, you don't.
Well, especially if we're counting Old Republic lore.
I mean, not only that, like they were actually like following that doctrine. Like it was very clearly, it wasn't just I use the dark side. It was coming from a place of
Right.
Sith ideology. So I think they absolutely qualify as Sith. But yeah, I'm very excited for this. I still haven't had a chance to get my hands on Secrets of the Jedi.
Same.
But it did spawn a lot of interesting conversation. It was, one of those things that kind of slowly had like a fun little drip of Force lore to everything. I like that we get to see the dark side portion of things. And maybe this will continue the long campaign to make Palpatine's return make sense over the course of 1,800 different published materials.
Good luck to them.
Yeah. I'm excited. Like you, I have never gotten to read Secrets of the Jedi, but in my eye, Spencer, my eye. But to me, I think a well-developed villain is always more interesting than a well-developed hero in a story. So this strikes my fancy more. I'd certainly like to see. What were you gesturing to?
My Kylo helmet.
He's an anti-hero.
I agree, but still.
Yeah, kind of like Lelouch v Britannia, Code Geass.
Yeah. Oh wow, you got both. You got Code Geass and One Piece all in here. They're going to refer to the gentleman on the lava lamp. It's a Vegeta lava lamp for everybody at home. I just realized that the camera's not anywhere close to it to be visible. The Vegeta's on the lava lamp. But yeah, very excited for this. Arezou, are there any like specific nuggets you want to see brought up in here? Any potential Legends characters being brought into the fold that you'd like to see?
Well, that's the thing. I don't actually have a very extensive Legends knowledge. It's just kind of what I have heard. So I don't know. I don't know on that front. But I'm the kind who's like, just give me the information and I'll take it in. And because I like, part of the reason I read all the canon books is because I like all the little interconnectedness. So if there's more of that, and more of tying aspects of the story together, that's mostly what I look for in books like this.
Very nice.
Yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you on that. Connor, is there do you want to see anything come into the canon? Is there anything you want to have a deeper understanding of or anything on that front?
Not that I can think of right now. I haven't studied the Sith to the extent that I've studied the Jedi, which in any case, the way I've studied the Jedi has just been very light right now. And so my studies of the Sith have just been basically non-existent. So like Arezou, I'm just kind of taking what information they give us and just going with it. I'm excited for it.
I would like more details on Force lightning, actually, now that I think about it. Because I don't think shooting lightning bolts out of your hands makes you a Palpatine. Because Dooku is not a Palpatine.
Oh, yeah, no, absolutely not.
So,
I happen to agree with you on that.
I would like more details on that.
I'd like a canon explanation as to why.
Why was that the jump?
Why going like this is, a product of more training than like Maul ever got, right? Maul can lift half a spaceship when he's in it, and just throw shit around, but he can't go like that. That'd be interesting to learn.
I will say is like a little bit of an answer to those questions is that lightning has always been one of those abilities that is very much rooted in the, get mad, get angry type abilities. That's
sure.
And that's why I like the way that Rey uses it in the Rise of Skywalker, and that I like that moment that it is just you have somebody who is so like predisposed to being able to use the Force potently.
And we've seen her get angry before.
I like the scenario under which it is used, under extreme stress and extreme anger. That makes sense. But I needed to push you to prove you're a Palpatine. I'm like, but Dooku's not a Palpatine.
Exactly.
So this doesn't make you a Palpatine.
And Dooku doesn't use it when he's under stress.
No.
Does
I mean, that's
Palpatine.
because he's a Sith Lord.
But he knows how to use it. So it's kind of like the ability manifesting for the first time under extreme stress, and then in theory with more training, then you can just kind of use it whenever.
Right.
Yeah.
Which would have been my thought. I'm like, cool. This kid with the potential to be dark is suddenly going dark. And then it's like, no, this is a genetic thing. I'm like, but it's not.
No.
Like, not really. Yeah, I'm with you, Arezou. Not not really. No.
But Maul is always getting mad, get angry, always stressed, and he never uses it.
So I think that a lot of that has, and then this is a little bit of like Legends speculation and the tipping of the hand as to what the Versus series on our Patreon looks like. A lot of that has to do with the fact that his training was meant for him to be an assassin and a warrior by trade.
Okay.
And by virtue, he does not like using Force abilities in combat. For him, it's about having Force abilities that can be used as a tool, as a supplement to what he already views as his zenith, which is his ability as a martial artist. So I think something like Force Lightning, Maul would view as a crutch. He's like, I guess
that's a convenient way of writing it off, but
I mean, no, like that's just what Insidious also never viewed Maul as someone who should be an equal.
All right, but Rain was never trained to use lightning. She
no,
just
that
does
was because again, I think it was just
she
somebody
got angry,
who
got mad.
Yeah,
So you're saying in all his life, Maul has never just done that.
But Maul has his life when he's gotten mad never hit that point of utter physical helplessness. He's always addressed it before getting to that point. Or either by stabbing somebody or lifting something or whatever. But I cannot believe I'm defending a narrative decision from The Rise of Skywalker, but here we are. So, so she's reached this point of she can't do anything because she can't stab anything, she can't hit anything, she can't lift anything because she's trying to pull a ship back. So the stress then builds to a point where it just kind of bursts out in anger. Especially where I think Maul never, as angry as he is all the time, never gets to that point of utter
really
where there is like literally no other physical thing he can do.
I'm not sure I agree with that. I don't mind what happened in Rise of Skywalker. I just don't think.
I also think
I don't think your explanation for Maul never doing it is right.
I also think that he has that training that. Yes, there's a part of like he is like again like always angry, always kind of ready to pop a blood vessel. But he also has that training where like that's kind of the point is for him to just stay seething. And that, like Arezou was saying, on top of he never gets to that point of like helplessness where like, in a normal situation, you just would kind of like scream and like, kick a chair type thing. Is you're angry or some bullshit like that where her, it manifests as casting a bolt of lightning like Zeus. Maul, that's just kind of his default is that he's just there. And again, I don't think he would ever want to use lightning. So like when his brother's
dying in front of him or when he's being captured by the Republic screaming, we're all going to die, that's not enough for him to lash out?
But how would the lightning help in that scenario?
He's also
how would the lightning help with Rey?
Because it's a bad plot point.
Yeah, I like it. It's weird. The Force is weird inherently. So like,
I think this is one of those things that doesn't have an in-canon explanation. It's just what happens when you write the story out of order.
When you write the story out of order.
Like I'm rewatching the whole thing now with a friend, and sometimes they'll be like, "Why does this happen here and not there?" I'm like, "Because they wrote this part first, and they didn't need it, and they didn't need it here. That's why." Like there's no good in-universe explanation for some of this stuff.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. But yeah, Secrets of the Sith. I'm very much looking forward to it. One of these days, probably when it's out. I'm probably going to wait till it's out and then get this and Jedi all at once, and then marathon through the both of them. Coming up to our next to last story here, we have a new game announcement. We are getting Star Wars Hunters from Lucasfilm and Zynga. We also got a little mini teaser trailer for it. The vibe I got from the press release made me think this is going to be Star Wars Fortnite.
Got the same vibe.
Upon watching the trailer and the way that Travis said that he had interpreted it, this might be more like Star Wars Overwatch.
I think that would be better.
I am way more excited for a Star Wars Overwatch than I would be a Star Wars Fortnite. Reading directly from the Lucasfilm press release, if you've ever dreamed of competing in a galactic arena, the roar of a cheering crowd in your ears, the new Star Wars game promises to capture that spirit with all new characters and a Star Wars-inspired locations. During today's Nintendo Direct, Zynga and Lucasfilm Games announced Star Wars Hunters, a competitive arena combat game coming to the Nintendo Switch system in 2021. Star Wars Hunters will bring players together to engage in thrilling team-based multiplayer battles featuring a diverse array of distinctive Star Wars characters.
You want me to take it from here?
Sure.
All right. Set after the fall of the Galactic Empire, Star Wars Hunters will connect players in real time to battle in arena settings inspired by iconic Star Wars locales, without giving any examples. Play as daring bounty hunters, heroes of the rebellion, and an Imperial stormtrooper in an action game that immerses players in fast-paced and visually stunning Star Wars conflict. Cool. There is a teaser trailer. It is on YouTube.
Yeah. And in the trailer, just what it says, like today we have a first glimpse of some of those new faces, including a Wookiee warrior, a mysterious red lightsaber wielding fighter, and holograms lining a graffiti litter. I can't speak.
Graffiti modeled.
I keep getting tongue tied. Anyway, I'm excited for this. Arezou, how are you with Star Wars games? Are you an avid Star Wars gamer? I'm not even going to address Connor. We've already got Levi's One Piece and Code Geass references. We don't need to bring Cal into this today.
Ouch.
Well, I was gonna say I didn't really want to start playing Star Wars games until quarantine started. Like just because I hadn't played anything newer than like a PS3 game until quarantine started. Then my brother has Battlefront 2, so I'm like, okay, story mode, because I've heard this story's nice. Took me forever. People saying that the campaign is like really short. I'm like, really? Because it took me a week. So it's that task level where you have to shoot him down. That took me forever. So did that. Then like Jedi Fallen Order, I loved. And then Squadrons, I'm enjoying, but it makes me a little bit seasick. So I can't play it as often. But yeah, like Star Wars games are the only games I play. That said, if this is like online Fortnite style, maybe I'll wait and see. It's the online that I don't love. I like story modes.
Like campaigns. Yeah.
Campaigns, yeah.
I agree with that. I've been waiting for an online Star Wars game that kind of fits the kind of online games I like to play. This is getting like a step closer from just dogfighting and like first person shooter type stuff. Like we're slowly doing more and more diverse genres until we get to a fighting game. We'll get to a fighting game eventually, and I'll be a happy camper. No, Arezou, I'm right there with you. I am absolute ass at stuff like Fortnite and Overwatch, and absolutely would only play this because it has Star Wars in the title. If I even did, but this also happened. This news happened to break the same day I got a Switch.
So you have to play it.
Yeah. So I just got a Switch this week, so I'm like, yeah, I kind of am really excited because I got it because I was like, I want to play Smash Brothers. I want to get back into Pokemon. What else? And this kind of answered that question for itself as to the what else question I was having. So,
and this is coming out on iOS and Android too.
Oh,
so
there you go.
It's pretty much pretty much mobile Star Wars, which just I might check it out, but probably not.
I would play it if I could, if you can play privately with your friends, and my friends all had it. I would do, but I don't feel like getting yelled at by a teenager.
Yep.
Yeah, I don't blame you either. The free-to-play model also intrigues me because that means the money will be made from in-game microtransactions, which, again, so long as we avoid a Battlefront 2 situation where you're paying for victory instead of paying to look cool, which I am firmly in the camp of paying to look cool is very fine, and it's a good way of the games being able to make money back. That means you get for the game to make a lot of money, they have to offer a very diverse array of looks and appearances for characters. So at that point, everybody wins. You can have the cool outfits, have a lot of different looks, both to represent the player base and for just cool ass aliens. Everybody wins. So this excites me a lot. I think this is it is an interesting idea, and if for no other reason, it makes me happy that we are continuing to diversify what all fields, what all genres Star Wars can break into, which I think is a long time coming to do more than just, a straight up war simulator. Like, it's still fighting, obviously, but it's not like it's not.
There was a war simulator.
Oh yeah, I mean specifically like a first-person shooter, and then like a space combat game that we're moving beyond just those two things. And obviously, we have stuff like Fallen Order.
We're getting more.
We're getting more.
Yeah, that's the thing that I really like is that we're not getting games every 8 years. So we're going to be getting more bang for our buck.
Which is all that we can ask for with this. We got one last story here, and this is one that I'm very intrigued by.
This is one I have no bone in.
Not at all.
I don't care.
No.
But a lot of others will. So, yeah, this is good for them.
Yes. Levi, I have to say, you were very good at recognizing when a story has I don't give a shit about this, but I know why people are excited. I'm excited for them.
Yeah.
I appreciate that energy a lot. So Mina Massoud, who played Aladdin in Disney's live-action Aladdin remake, according to the gents over at Kessel Run Transmissions, is up to play Ezra Bridger in Ahsoka. Yeah, I mean the rumor, the news is the headline. Kind of simple with that one. I think it's clever casting. I think he's very charismatic. I think he absolutely has the look for it. I know a lot of people have been trying to do Ezra being grizzled post Rebels, and I'm assuming Mans can grow.
He could still do it.
Yeah. I think he's perfect because he could go in either direction pretty much.
He's a Middle Eastern man. A beard is not out of the question.
Yeah. So, Arezou, I'm going to ask you first. Thoughts on this, and if he would have been your first choice, because I know a lot of people like the gentleman from Haunting of Bly Manor.
Yes, Raul Coley. Well, I like Raul Coley, but when I was rewatching Rebels, all I could think was Mina Massoud. I'm like, if they ever bring him into live action, I know everybody's saying Raul Coley, but I would love if it was Mina Massoud instead. So just because he's got that vibe, that kind of that charismatic, kind of sweet, funny, he's so perfect to play Ezra Bridger. My only thing is I really wanted the Ezra, Ahsoka, Sabine, Thrawn follow-up to be animation. If I can't have that, then Mina Massoud is perfect. So that's where I stand on it.
I will say, and I know a lot of other people say that there is no saying that it can't be best of both worlds. I personally hope it is. I think that might be swinging for the fences. I hope that we both get to see them in live action, but see either the follow-up or the precursor to whatever that was happen in animation. because I too want to see it happen in the medium it kind of started in. I think would be nice.
And like honestly, there's been rumors over the years that the Rebels sequel series has just been in production, animated for a while now. So for them to scrap it and make it live action would just be really odd.
Yeah.
So and keep in mind the Ahsoka series is a limited series. So at most we'll get like 1 to 2 seasons.
Yeah, that's true.
So
Mhm.
I'm just holding out hope, man.
I think it's cool that you kind of you picked this casting out before it broke.
That was I'd seen somebody else mention it. I'm like, you know what? That to me fits better. So, and then I couldn't unsee it. So,
absolutely, I mean, there's also the joke where people kind of jokingly refer to Ezra as Space Aladdin anyway.
Right.
So, that I just feel like it's kind of a wink and a nod at that.
Oh, he kind of really is, isn't he?
Yeah.
I thought about that.
So we're actually just having somebody who played Aladdin be Ezra Bridger, which I think is neat and very funny.
And I just like Mina Masood too. He's a Canadian boy, local boy. So I'm like, you know what? I'm glad you're getting work. Because he's good at what he does. He should be far busier than he is. So.
I agree with that completely. He's one of the highlights of the live action Aladdin. There isn't a lot there to love, but him and Will Smith's chemistry really, really made me enjoy that movie beyond just liking the music. And he was a big part of that. So I very much like this casting as well. Connor, thoughts on this?
So I haven't seen the live action Aladdin remake. I probably never will. But from looks alone, I think I would give him the part. And just as Arezou said, and I've heard other friends say, he's very charismatic. He just has he has the acting chops. So if this turns out to be true, I'm excited. I just want the continuation of Rebels to be an animation like many others are hoping for. So
understandable. Yeah. And it seems like we're all pretty much on the same page of I would like it to be animated, but if it's
I'm sort of biased because animated Star Wars is kind of top tier Star Wars, but like that's besides the point.
Yeah, I also think too, just from a storytelling perspective, because you've started it in animation. Realistically, when Ahsoka drops, half your audience won't have seen Rebels, and they should go back and watch it. Like maybe they will after meeting Ahsoka on The Mandalorian, but they haven't seen it. So, operating on that assumption, you have to catch them up to who Ezra is, why he matters, why Ahsoka's looking for him, and who Sabine is. So that's a lot of repeating a story you've already told. And that's where my hesitation lies. Like, if they can pull it off, great, but I worry.
Yeah, and it is Dave who's writing the Ahsoka series, which makes me happy.
Yeah, I think you're right. A lot of the pitfalls are there, and I hope that they find a way of sidestepping it and doing it in a way that makes people want to go back and learn more about these characters and where they came from. I think that's the most impressive part about this is the way that I think that the live action Disney Plus stuff begs its audience who, like we've said before on here, where you have the group of people who don't necessarily like live, breathe, eat, and sleep Star Wars, who are like, oh yeah, I like the Baby Yoda show, who go, oh, this chick with the red hair is really badass. I like her. And it goes, oh, this person has like white lightsabers and they're a badass. Oh, this is neat. And then they go back and then they experience like where they came from. And I think that the strategy of kind of making people retroactively go back to understand what's happening is brilliant. And I hope that they're able to do that again. Because after The Jedi, that episode of Mando came out, numbers for Clone Wars and Rebels went up. So
The only thing is, that was one episode.
exactly.
So you're still following Mando. So if you didn't totally get who Ahsoka is, that's okay, because it sets up their next plot point. But if the whole story hinges on you knowing who Ahsoka is and what this mission of hers is, that's harder to pull. Not impossible, but much, much harder to pull off.
And the example I'll use, talking about Gina Carano and jumping to another problematic piece of shit who was in the news this week, Joss Whedon, unfortunately. The example I'll use is I got into Angel when I was like 11 and had never seen Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And like fell in love with that show that is a spinoff of a show that I had not seen a second of as a kid. And I'm very curious to see how many people check in with the spinoffs and not the main thing, or not, maybe not the main thing, because the main thing at this point is the Mandalorian, but more the thing that started it. Like, I want to see how much like Mando and the other live action stuff that does tie into Rebels and Clone Wars can be on its own in that weird, like, Angel doesn't exist without Buffy. But if you care enough, you don't necessarily need to have seen Buffy. And hopefully the show can offer you just enough background knowledge to be like, oh, cool, and guide the newer viewer through why some character appearances are important, and also have enough there that the people who've been around for a hot minute get to have amazing moments, like the first season where Buffy shows up and have those amazing moments. And I can't watch the episode without crying. Buffy and Angel over Buffy and Spike, by the way. Anybody watching, that's the superior Buffy ship. But I'm done talking about Buffy because I get angry because Joss Whedon's a piece of shit and I want to hit him with a shovel. Anyway, absolute monster and very disappointing. And we talked about that on TNet Proper this week. So, yeah, I think that is all we have for this week. Really fun news. Like I said earlier, it was a good couple weeks to be a Star Wars fan.
Yep.
We got nothing but good things coming out here. We have our story so far of the High Republic out. Soon we're going to be doing one of those for the comic book stories so far. I know Connor and I need to get caught up on the comic book side of the High Republic.
Yep.
Arezou, I know you have been all over the High Republic stuff so far as well. And
just the books. I'm waiting for the comics to appear on the Marvel app.
Yeah. I was kind of thinking about doing the same thing, but I'm going to see if I can get my hands on them on Comixology. But obviously, we would love to have you on again. This is a lot of fun. And whenever we do another recap for some High Republic books, I think that would be a great time to have.
That would be fun.
We had to have Jerry on because how much of a Geode stan he is that we were we can't talk about Into the Dark without Jerry.
No, of course not.
Can't wait to read it.
It's great.
Yeah,
it's great.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. While we're on the topic, to answer your question, yes, the Drengir are in Into the Dark. They're the twist villain.
Spoilers.
Levi don't really give a shit about spoilers, so that's the only reason.
What about Connor? Connor hasn't read it yet.
Connor was like, "Hey, I'll listen to the conversation."
Yeah, so. I was on the episode, but I zoned out, and the only things I remember are Drengir and Geode's real.
I love how your mic muted itself again so that you couldn't say anything about Geode. You said
Geode's muting his mic.
It knows.
Yeah. Geode is the deep state that cut our aliens episode of Campus.
What's Geode?
So Geode is just sentient rock that's in the story.
He's a navigator.
Yeah, he's the navigator of the ship.
He's a navigator and a party animal.
Sounds like a cool Geo dude.
Hits the clubs when he's not working.
Yeah. No,
So the Drengir were the twist villain.
Yeah.
What's the Drengir? The plants?
Yeah.
Real hungry plants.
Yeah, the carnivorous plants. it's really cool. I'm very excited for the next set of stories. We're finally going to get to see Stellan Gios, who I have been excited for, because obvious reasons and obvious lightsabers. So, real quick before we wrap up again, Arezou, please remind the people where they can find you and all of your work.
So you can find me on Twitter at Arezou Amin, at arezud2.com, which is my website, which is all the book reviews. So it's all of Star Wars canon so far, novel-wise. And then you can find me on Beyond the Blasters Live, Wednesdays at 10, and podcasting and writing at the Geeky Waffle as well. So that's all thegeekywaffle.com.
Absolutely. Please, everybody, do yourselves a favor. I don't think I go more than a week without singing the praises of Beyond the Blast Doors on the whole. There is not a bad show and a nothing below absolute amazing host anywhere near that network, and Arezou is by no means an exception to that rule. All you guys are great. Beyond the Blast Doors Live is always a hoot. And yeah, Connor, you've done some work on Geeky Waffle. You're on a lot of the Mando review streams.
I was on 2.
You're on 2? Okay.
Yeah.
I remember you being on. I remember you being on, and Levi and I out loud saying the Tao Swift ad read with you, which on its own is very fun. But yes, please check out Beyond the Blast Doors. Please check out Geeky Waffle. Lots of great stuff. Arezou, thank you again so much for being on.
Thank you so much for having me on. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you very much. Connor, where can the lovely people find you, my friend?
They can find me on Twitter at DepaBanana. They can find me on Instagram at ConmanJFO. And they can find me on Facebook, admin in the Alliance of Star Wars Fanatics, Tao Swift for short. We're a Facebook group that our whole mission is to talk about Star Wars in a constructive, respective works, and positive light, which is something that you don't necessarily see in the Star Wars fandom, both offline and online, all too much. So that's our whole mission. If you want a Star Wars Facebook group that just, you don't want to listen to the bull crap of the fandom day in and day out and be called a shill just because you like the sequels or the new content, check us out.
Please do. Tao Swift is probably one of my favorite Star Wars Facebook groups, and it is it's pretty free of any horse shit. So it's all that's a plus if I've ever heard one. Levi, where can the lovely people find you, my friend?
They can find me at Twitter at Levi_bomb. Where can the lovely people find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at DarkJedi2552. And you can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, and on our website, www.thenerdacademypodcast.com, where if you're feeling generous, you can donate to our Patreon page. Speaking of our patrons, thank you to our $10 alumnus, Case and Brion, the Waffle Wizard, Delta 9, and Zach Knaus. You guys help us make the content we love to produce. Be sure to check out the $5 tier, where we have our Knights of the Nerd Republic Versus series. February's was Rey versus Barriss Offee. March is going to be Kyle Katarn versus Darth Malgus. We have lots of cool matchups planned for the rest of the year, so be sure to tune in for all of that. We have our other comic book show that ties in with the Nerd Academy called Heroic History 101, where Travis and I review older comic book stories. We're going to be talking some Sam Wilson, Captain America, both to celebrate Falcon and the Winter Soldier and for Black History Month. And we're also doing Ryan Coogler movies on the Nerd Academy Movie Club. Our audio commentaries for Creed and Fruitvale Station are on our Patreon at the $5 tier as well. And on the $10 tier, you get early access to Movie Club and Campus Life. If you would like to support the Nerd Academy podcast even further, you can go ahead and click on the student store link on our website. You can get all manner of Nerd Academy merch, such as this lovely pillow. This beautiful pillow with our logo on it. Again, you can be sleeping on us without actually sleeping on us. I'm going to say that until someone actually laughs at it and Arezou chuckle, which means you can finally retire that dog shit joke. I don't have to say it anymore. The first time I said it, I was the only person who laughed at it, and I was like, and that is just how this works. But yeah, check out the TeePublic, check out the Patreon if you guys are so willing to. Thank you all so much for listening. We are honored that you have joined us, and may the force be with you always.